Hello everyone, good morning. Today I will be examining the Collins Aerospace cybersecurity incident that took place recently in September 2025. So this case study is about airport disruption via third-party ransomware attack. Coming to the background, this was actually happened in mid-September 2025, and the victim was Collins Aerospace, which was a subsidiary company of RPX. So this event actually serves as critical case study on how a third-party ransomware attack can actually cause a widespread disruption specifically within the aviation industry. So the target was VMU's passenger processing system, which is actually widely used across European airports for checking in, boarding, and baggage handling in the airports. So the nature of attack was actually identified as a third party or supply chain ransomware attack. So which means the attackers didn't breach the airports directly. They actually encrypted the malware by the vendor systems. So this vendor was actually compromised because of this malware and was indirectly the cause of the airport disruptions. So both RTX and ENISA, the European Union Cybersecurity Agency, later has confirmed these details and also about this attack. So this is the attack timeline. If you see the timeline, the initial ransomware infection happened in mid-September of this year. Then shortly after that, system outages were reported across multiple airports. And on September 2022, ENISA officially confirmed that this ransomware attack was the actual root cause. So because of this, as a result, airports had to revert to manual methods instead of automating their tasks for check-in and boarding at a significant slower process. So this actually took so much time because of this manual process because this attack was actually affecting so many processes and which disrupted the normal functioning of airports. So the airports impacted was there were so many airports which were impacted, and it was actually felt across the European continent. So the confirmed airports which were actually hit by this attack included major hubs like Brussels, London's Heathrow Airport, Berlin, and Dublin, and also several other smaller airports. So because there were so many airlines dependent on this VMU system, the effect was simultaneous and widespread across the European Union. So this led to thousands of passengers being, stranded at a single place and facing significant delays in reaching their destination. So there was a lot of confusion and frustration among the passengers as well. So the operational impact it was immediate and severe as well. So the airports actually forced to use the manual feedback procedures for checking in passengers, as I already mentioned in the previous slide. So this led to extensive flight delays and cancellation throughout Europe. And the baggage handling systems were also disrupted across all the airports. And because of everything, I mean, all these cumulative disruptions has actually had a significant impact on the passengers. So they were actually frustrated because of all this, disruptions across airports because this is a bigger impact, and these airlines are actually a major transportation system across the European Union. So they mainly depend on this transportation systems for going to the destinations, doing meetings, and all the other business dealings. So there was significant chaos and frustration among various passengers. So coming to the business and financial impact, so the consequences were very huge. So the airlines lost revenue from the delayed and cancelled flights and also faced severe costs for compensating stranded passengers. So for Collins Aerospace and its parent company, the incident caused significant reputational harm and incurred high remediation costs. On a broader scale, this event was a systematic risk within the aviation sector stemming from its reliance on third party vendors. So they actually had heavy reliance on third party vendors. So because of this, the impact was even huge uh, than not depending on the third party vendors. So this demonstrated systematic risk from vendor reliance as well. So coming to potential data and security risks. So while the primary impact was operational disruption, there were also significant data and security risks. So there was a risk that operational data from airlines and airports was stolen, and also there is a risk of credential theft or system exploitation that could actually affect connected networks. And this stolen data can be, actually resold to other, uh, you know, uh, attackers or any other groups which are trying to harm other areas as well in the future. So the root cause was mainly, the analysis points uh, where the root cause lies was one was the third party vendor reliance, which was only a single vendor providing a critical aviation infrastructure, and the vendor defense was also actually very weak. Also, lack of redundancy across airports for passenger processing also led to this attack. So the airports themselves lack redundancy for their passenger processing systems. So the shared reliance on each and everything caused a single point of failure and allowed that uh, attackers to actually make this attack even much easier, because there was only a single point of failure, and if that had taken place, then they can get into anything and everywhere, and they can steal any kind of data. So one way to prevent and mitigate these kind of attacks is to use multi-layered approach instead of a single point of making the system as a single point of failure. So it starts with stringent vendor risk management, including regular audits, clear service level agreements, and requirements for immediate breach notification. And also implementing a zero trust architecture with strict network segmentation is also very crucial. As I've already said, multi-factor authentication and just-in-time access for vendor systems can also somewhat help in mitigating this kind of ransomware attacks. And also having robust monitoring, backup servers, and disaster server is also, very much essential in preventing these kind of attacks. So to actually conclude, this incident or this case study offers several key, lessons like so there must not be any over dependency on third party vendors which actually handle critical data for a company like, or for a system which is actually maintaining all the airport operations. And because of this over reliance on a single vendor for critical functions led systemic vulnerabilities which can have, disaster effects. So true operational resilience usually requires not just fallback systems but also redundancy. And to conclude, ultimately, this case actually proves that supply chain cybersecurity is just as vital as protecting, in your own house defense. Yeah. Thank you. This is all about the case study.